Welcome to Room for More Art, a dialogue series where we sit with architects and designers to explore spaces through the lens of art and design. This episode is powered by Decorates, making interiors more thoughtful with their smart wall panels and ceiling solutions that are as practical as they are beautiful.
Hi, so my name is Dhyey Chag. I am founder and principal architect of Dhyey Chag Architects. So the firm was founded in 2019 and we are into real estate projects along with residential retail interiors. So the design philosophy is core detail driven. We believe that God lies in detail, and we actually focus quite much on detailing into our projects. So when it comes to designing, the design philosophies are based on the core creativity. While in order to guide that creativity, we need a base, a structure, and that's where the detailing takes place. So the firm's direct approach is giving more focus on detail and bringing the creativity to life. So art is a very integral part of our firm, and the base comes from my mentor Hiren Patel, and when I was being trained under him at that time, the projects were always incorporated with lot of art, and from there my personal base and firm's base is built. So we believe that any project is incomplete without art. Art brings life to any space. We have a general notion where greens add on to the life of the space. Obviously, because greens are breathable, like they say that trees breathe, but art too has life. I guess, art is the only form which is non-living but has life inside it. So the interpretation of each art comes from within. Like every person has a different interpretation to the art, every space has a different interpretation to the art. Like if a same artwork is placed in one space, and if the same artwork is placed in another space, then the whole representation and interpretation of the artwork changes. And that's where we love art, because it is a tool for us when we are designing any space, be it interior or architecture. And when we want that, let's not design more into it and let's just curate it. That's where art comes into place and makes our work easy, and maybe it's more about bringing life to our spaces. I think art is not an accessory. It's quite depth when we dive deeper into the subject of art. Art has many different forms, from painting to sculptures. All of those elements add to the space. For an example, there is a harsh concrete wall, brutal concrete wall, and we want to add some softness into the form of it. Then we have these days we have rugs which are form of art. So to add that softness, we try to hang those creative rug pieces on wall with a lot of good color, formations, geometry, and the textures of the knots. So that is one form of the depth of art which can change the space. And when a person is coming into the space and seeing the entire space as quite brutal, that addition of softness is something which touches the heart. So again, art is pretty much a very deeper subject rather than just a superficial add-on tool. So I would like to discuss one of our projects called the Mool Residence. It's a project which has traditional Indian interiors. While the architecture is quite contemporary, the focus was on doing traditional Indian interiors. So most of the spaces of house are incorporated with some or the other form of art. For an instance, one of the core art features is a lift portal. We actually procured it from Gujarat Handicrafts, and we designed the specifications of the lift shaft, and the core entrance according to that portal. Now, art is not always an add-on feature. Sometimes the spaces are designed according to art. So when we got the portal, we structurally designed the lift entrance where the portal and the lift shaft got integrated together. Again, when we bring in art into the space, we have to respect the core nature of the art. So if we closely look into the artwork and its utility, so it's a lift entry, so you do have buttons on it. So rather than just having a button pasted on the or placed on the portal, we placed it on the sides of the portal which had no carving. So entire carving and the art of portal was preserved, while the flat area on the sides was utilized to incorporate the buttons of the lift. So that is where a role of an architect or an interior designer comes into play, where they have to curate the art in a way which adds to the space without harming the practicality or without disturbing the form of art. Again, for the same project, we have floor, which in itself is an art. So we got different types of natural Indian stones, from chiku grey to kota stone to multicolor kota to Jaisalmer stone. We did a few processes like linear finishes, thread finishes on the kota stone, where the passages were marked with such finishes, and where there were the entire placing of furniture happening, they were kept quite plain. So rather than guiding the space verbally or through an expression on the wall or on the ceiling, our floor guided the circulation. And we applied different kind of techniques, like we incorporated few geometries where diamonds and circles were superimposing, where there were different finishes coming into play on stone, where wood was being inlaid with the floor, where brass was being inlaid with the kota stone. So all those things are actually an art form created by the interior designers. So that is one of the other incorporation of art into the same project. On the third scale, I would say the procurement of furniture as well. It plays a very important role, because the furniture should blend in with the space. So we got most of our movable furnitures like beds, side tables and sofas from a brand called Alankaram. They are a fantastic brand. They make amazing Indian furniture with solid teak wood, based out of Madhya Pradesh, and they have integrated proper traditional Indian joineries with the kind of brass detailings into complex structures that they do. It's quite amazing, and we really loved it, and we particularly got the furnitures for this project because we felt that it is the only brand which can help us show the ideology or the project's design philosophy could be incorporated with the furniture. So again, there are multiple roles of art in this project, from we as designers who design flooring, from procuring uh, the art from Gujarat Handicrafts, which is reclaimed teak wood, like we get from the old pole houses. Again, that's a for that you need an eye, for that you need a thought process that this art is actually going to go well with our project. And then third comes the procurement of the furnitures, which again there are multiple brands, but what is our requirement as a designer and what is project's requirement as a design philosophy. So it's more about superimposition of art. Then the fourth layer, which is soft furnishings. When we go with the soft furnishings, they are mostly curtains and fabrics, which plays a very important or pivotal role in any project, because when the layers are being added, and of course budget is always a constraint in any of the projects. So when we reach to the utmost layer of uh, integration of soft furnishings, at that time budget comes into play, and during that we need to incorporate art in it as well. So our fabric procurement played a very important role in the same project, where we got curtains with uh, traditional thread works like the patterns of ikat, or the materials like linen and cotton with vibrant colors and vibrant geometrical design, which align well with our project. So this is again the fourth layer which has been added. And then comes another layer, I would say, which is the arrangements, or which is the integration of art pieces or sculptures. When it comes to Indian interiors, there are a lot of material restrictions, because we need to be rooted to the natural materials. So moreover, it's brass and beaten brass which comes into play along with wood. So that procurement uh, of art pieces or sculptural pieces of brass, that made a important role in the project, along with a few designed sculptures by us. So yeah, these are a few things of the project which suggest that our love for art is immense, and we work to the core, where the superimposition of art is taken care of, and ultimately the entire project blends in. So when it comes to wall, there are different mediums to play with. One, as an interior designer, we go with the standard paneling options, where we integrate it through different kind of materials like wood, veneer, or we procure some art pieces, and we incorporate it on the wall. While there is another thing where we just keep the walls plain and we add lime plaster to it, the texture comes into play, and then comes the main role of art. We have many projects wherein we have kept the wall just plain with lime plaster on it, and we have procured very good artworks of great artists. So the entire idea is that we are not designing an art gallery or a museum, but when people come to home, they always need some kind of warmth or some kind uh, of time to be spent to look on the walls, like while they are looking at the walls and they are spending some time. So that's where art comes into play. So either we design the walls which are artistic, where we integrate our own art, our own artistic concepts, or else we design a plain wall, but we curate that wall with good kind of artworks which connect with the interiors of the home or with the people staying in. So I personally feel that it's always a painting which adds life to a blank wall, and along with the painting, how it is framed, it is something which is very important for me as a designer, where I think that it's not just a piece of artwork, but even the frame has to be very much artistic, or which actually justifies the art of the artist or the painter. So Moreover, I think that with the plain walls, it's an oil paint or a watercolor paint by any good artist is something I would try to put it. So, see, procuring art is in itself a subject, or curation in itself a subject. So, when we decide that we want to bring in some art, at that time we tend to go through our entire design process, all the kind of textures, material, colors that we have used. We try to superimpose each and every layer on it, and then we go to an art gallery to get the artwork, or we contact a sculptor to make a sculpture for us, or we contact an artist to make a mural for us. At that time, the most important thing that we think of is the the space where the art is coming, the scale of the art, the material of the art, be it clay, or if it's a painting, then be it what kind of medium it is and what kind of frame we are taking in, or be it a fabric art like I would say there is one very nice artist called Mori Designs. So if we bring in such kind of fabric artwork, then those have to be framed. And if it comes to art curators, we would always wish to collaborate with such kind of art advisors who can guide us that what kind of space it is and what kind of art should get into the space, balancing the scale and the color palette, texture palette. Along with it, I would say that as we discussed earlier, that even art has life. Art translates vibration. It's a quite a spiritual thought where each and everything that we are doing has a vibration. Similarly, paintings do have vibrations. One of the artists explained me, he's very famous, Moksh Thapar, and he told me that whenever you select an art, always try to stand there in front of the art and feel the art. And that's where I learned it. And from there, I feel that whenever we are procuring art, we give ourselves some time, we imagine that art into that space, and we try that what kind of vibrations are coming through that art. And it makes the space so calm, and it makes the space so much of good vibrations coming out of it. So art in itself is an entire subject, and when it comes to curation of it, obviously if there are any experts, then we should collaborate with it, or otherwise we should always keep on learning how to integrate art into the space. So for this, we have always grown year by year into our practice when it comes to art. But here I would like to go to our first art procurement rather than the most matured procurement, the most initial one, because it still connects us. It's a painting by a very famous artist, Ravindra Salve, and it's a Radha Krishna art. So when it comes to the art of Ravindra Salve, he uses some vibrant colors, and which makes the space quite live. So my first learning to procure art was that whatever color and textures are there in the room, it should complement the artwork, and that's where we followed it. And when it comes to Ravindra Salve's artwork and his vibrant colors, they are so much of contradiction or contrasts of warm and cool tones that they bring life into the space. And when it comes to the interpretation of the artwork, the Radha Krishna sometimes make you interpret that Krishna is standing besides Radha, and sometimes it makes you interpret that Radha is being held by Krishna on his arms. And then there are these innumerable cows which have been interpreted in the same artwork. So his artwork is always a multi-interpretational work, where what kind of thoughts are there in your mind is something which you start connecting to the art of his. And it's very much of a traditional and contemporary superimposition through colors and through the line work, to the strokes. So yeah, I would say that work of Ravindra Salve is an integral part of our design philosophy and our liking, and we would always wish that at least every project has one of his works. So this is definitely one of the nicest thing to share, because see, we are in a time where AI is building too fast, and people are started like people have started to generate art online through AI tools. Now, when it comes to art, the client don't understand that what is the meaning of art, what is the depth of art. They would always come with a question that we found it on chat gpt and we generated it and it costs us so less. So people will always compare art generated by AI and the artist, and that's where it's very important for designers to come into the picture. See, every artist is not going to reach clients, the clients of architect or interior design. So it's the architect who is in the middle and who has the knowledge of art. So the knowledge of art is something which has to be explained, and that role is to be done by the designers. One of the instance, if we could discuss, is that if someone comes that we have this digital art, then that is where we should discuss that, see, this is a canvas painting made by the artist with the oil paints and the kind of emotions that have been put inside, the kind of geometry that he's been using it, the kind of line work, the kind of strokes that have been applied by him. He has been practicing the art since last 20 years, and every artwork of his is getting better with the, when compared to the selection of colors, when compared to the strokes, the strength of the strokes. So this is one of the technical details an architect or a designer should convey to the client. Then the connect of the emotion, as I mentioned prior, that every art carries an emotion. So emotion and the emotional discussions or the connections with the art is something which comes out verbally for explaining it to the client, and that's where architect has to be quite emotional about the artwork and make them understand that what kind of emotion it carries. There are few artworks which carry a happy emotion, there are few artworks which carry kind of a emotion of a fighter, there are few artworks that carry an emotion of love, there are few artworks that carry an emotion of separation. So which kind of an artwork carries what kind of an emotion is something which has to be understood. Again, coming to the medium, why majorly people connect art as a painting? Because till date, paintings were one of the most recognized artistic elements which were being added to the space. When times came where digital art, digital paintings came into the picture, the artists grew. The form of art changed, the medium changed. Now, even a rug is an art. People started to make sculptures with different kind of materials, different kind of techniques. So the techniques evolved, the machineries came into picture. So how the machineries are helping to make good art. So when machineries came into picture, now the client would come and say that there is this 3D printer, and I'll ask ChatGPT to generate a file and make a 3D artwork out of it. But that's where they won't be able to do, because the artist has gone through that entire emotional phase of his, where he knows what color comes when there is a sorrow to be represented, or what color it comes when there is an happiness is to be represented, what kind of form it comes, what kind of fluidity it comes, and even they know how to play with the sculpture, the the characteristics of a material that a layman or an AI tool won't be able to do. And if AI tool is able to do it, then that emotion would be missing. So that's where the designer comes into play, where he connects the client and the artist through the emotion and through all the material mediums. And again, there is a, like, need is the way towards discovery. That's a proverb. So when there was too much of, or there is too much of digital art, so the new mediums came into place due to the need of newness into the art. And yeah, that's how the art is being evolved. That's my observation to the entire evolution, and that's where the architects or interior designers step in. I believe that art can be felt, and without an art or an artwork, any space is as good as dead. Art is an emotion, so it's like a human without an emotion is considered as dead. It's a space without an art which is not alive.